Hi, I'm Jason Kaufman. I'm Dan Brown's longtime editor, not to be confused with Jonas Falkman, who is Robert Langdon's longtime editor. We are so excited for the publication of Dan's new novel, The Secret of Secrets, which is coming out in September. I can't tell you much about the book, but we can take you behind the scenes to have a look at what it takes to make a bestseller. We're here at the Penguin Random House building today. I'm going to take you inside and upstairs, and we'll show you around. By the way, keep an eye on these doors. One thing I can share with you is that they do play a role in the new book. Welcome to Doubleday. We're on the 13th floor. This is where all the magic happens. This is where all of Dan's books have been published. And I will say that since all of Dan's books have to do with Robert Langdon, who has an incredible love of symbols, this is the symbol of Doubleday. It's the anchor and dolphin. This is a colophon that is 500 years old. It was created by a Venetian printer, but it has been here and the symbol of Doubleday since 1897 when Doubleday began. Now we're going to find Oliver Monday, who is our art director, who's in charge of the jacket for The Secret of Secrets. Hey, Oliver. How's it going?
Very good, very good.
When you see a book, the very first thing you see is the jacket. And when it comes to Dan, his jackets are always incredibly complicated with hidden features and all this. How did you come around with what we're finally using here?
Most importantly, we hired Will Staley, a supremely talented designer and a huge Dan Brown fan. He tends to really succeed in working on these big, exciting commercial thrillers in particular. We sent him the manuscript and let him kind of run with it. And he worked on over 100 versions for this. For someone like Dan Brown, who creates these, extremely rich novels with all kinds of symbolism and rich in location, it turned out that a simple entry point was a great way to pique a reader's interest, but also introduce them to the world without overwhelming them.
There's an awful lot to communicate.
What we ended up with is something very simple and iconic, a keyhole.
Very cool. So we're here at Doubleday, and this is sort of our secret Dan Brown corner. We have a bunch of bestseller lists, and we have these display cases which have almost all of the foreign editions of many of Dan's books. And I have a small little publishing secret here, which is called a spine die. These are made of brass, and they are used to print about 50,000 hardcover spine copies. This one is for the Da Vinci Code, and as you can see, this is what we use to print these edges. And after about 50 or 70,000 copies, these get rounded on the edges, and you have to melt them down and make new ones. People ask me all the time what it is that I love about working with Dan so much. Dan is an incredible perfectionist, and these books are very complex, and I am a perfectionist, and we sort of have to mesh that way in order to put in the number of hours that we do on these books. I thought I would show you a little bit about how we edit in our process. This is actually a manuscript of Origin, which was Dan's last book, and in all the previous books we edited on paper. As you can see, these are some of the kind of notes and back and forth that we have on these. For The Secret of Secrets, it's actually the first time that we've edited exclusively on our laptops digitally. So I can show you a page of Secret of Secrets, but I can't really show you much. But this is the way that we go back and forth and comment back and forth to each other about whatever is being written in that day or that week. Now I want to introduce you to Vimy Santoki in our managing editorial department. Vimy is like the air traffic controller here who keeps everything running on time and secure. Hey, Vimy.
Hey, Jason.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So Vimy has the distinction of being one of the only people who has worked on all of Dan's books, starting with the Da Vinci Code. And with this new one, The Secret of Secrets, it is all about secrets. How are you keeping this manuscript a secret here in-house?
Well, we absolutely want to make sure that there are no spoilers that get leaked on such a major publication. So 2 major things we do. We want to make sure the entire book team has signed their NDAs. And we also want to make sure that we collaborate with our IT department to make sure that the files are being secured.
No leaks.
No leaks. No leaks. All secrets.
So let's talk to Judy Jacoby. She is our advertising director who has worked on all of Dan's books. When you're designing an ad campaign, what's the main goal?
We want to intrigue people, get them interested and excited for what's to come, but the challenge there is that we don't want to give too much away because we want readers to have the fun of discovering all of the wonderful secrets and adventure that Dan has in store for them. A good example of doing something like that is our Mona Lisa ad, the Why Is This Man Smiling? That was such an intriguing teaser ad because you want to know more. That's what we want to do with Secret of Secrets as well. Part of our building the campaign is going to be finding those images and taglines that will convey all of that.
That's great. Well, I would ask you what the campaign's going to look like, but I know that it's a secret.
It is indeed a secret, but I think everyone's going to be really excited with what we have up our sleeves.
When it comes to a Dan Brown book, we have an enormous marketing campaign to try to get the word out to everyone. So we're going to go talk to Heather Fain, who is our marketing director, and see what she has cooking up for the Secret of Secrets. Heather.
Oh, hey.
Hello.
Hi,
Can I come
Jason.
in?
Yeah, come on in. How are you?
Good. So what do you have cooking up for the Secret of Secrets?
Well, this is, as you know, going to be the biggest book of the year. So we got to have the biggest marketing campaign to go around it. One of the things that we always talk about when we talk about Dan Brown is like the world of Dan Brown. That means this like unstoppable action with every page. That means this exotic locations and all kinds of history woven in through it. And it means puzzles, right? Like puzzles that people go crazy over trying to solve themselves. So over the course of the whole year, we're going to be inviting people back into this world of Dan Brown. We're creating games, online games, that are going to harken back to all of the backlists and provide new riddles and puzzles for people to do. We're going to be releasing a whole bunch of travel guides so that if you want to know about where did Robert Langdon go in Paris or Florence or Washington, D.C., then you'll have it right at your fingertips. And then this is all going to culminate when the book really comes out in September in like bringing Dan, the master of the world of Dan Brown, to readers. So that, of course, will be his author tour. So we're going to be really excited to be announcing all the details about where Dan's going to go in just a few weeks.
Sounds great. But my real question is, what about the hat? How do we get a Dan fan hat, Heather?
Well, you're going to have to crack the code.
The code in the newsletter?
You got it.
Okay, I can do that.
Great.
So I know we're right next to the server room. Is that the area where every single PRH book exists?
Yeah, but your books, all the books you've worked on, every book anybody's ever worked on, 1.3 million of them is sitting in there, all secured, backed up, and stored, like the Library of Congress, you know?
These are the guys who keep all the technology in the building completely safe and locked down, especially when it comes to Dan Brown, right? Normally, when I've come to you with a new Dan manuscript, it's just a question of how do we keep it safe? Were you a little bit panicked this time when I told you it has to do with a storyline that takes place in this building in New York Publishing about a manuscript that goes missing?
I think 20 years ago we would have been panicked, from the desktop to sending it, to storing it, to making it available, to selling it.
As many access points.
Lots of points.
That's our challenge. We're constantly keeping up with the changes because the bad guys are always keeping up with the changes. So we have to do that as well.
Well, that stuff fascinates Dan, and I know that he's always looking to try to be on the cutting edge of the storytelling and getting the details right. So the big question is, did we get the technology right?
We got the technology right, but it's a moving target, right? And AI brings a whole nother world of challenge.
But like I told you before, zero trust is our policy, and then we work from there.
Not that we don't trust you.
Right, that's right.